Hi everyone, I'm Mick Sykes.
And it's Jip Jack on the attack.
And we're the hosts of The Anukai Tree here on Anchor FM.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Here's why.
It's totally free.
The creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to all the streaming platforms, so you can be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more.
You can make coin from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
And don't forget to listen to us here on anchor.fm/Anukai.
ANVKAI. Hey, ANVKAI.
Come sit with us.
ANVKAI. ANVKAI. Hey.
Yo! Hello. Welcome to the. I am your producer, Mr. Sykes, and your host.
What's going on? Is Jib Jack on the attack?
I have some audio problems, but coming into this season, we're gonna do live shows. We're gonna do just to we are going to be going usually like we do on Tuesdays. We can get tonight. The topic is we're talking what like decade have two great kids. You know, the other way to just limit them. Do everything. We have Mojo Disco and we have the Ruddest Jones. Everything. Mojo is an artist, an actress, a director also, I believe. Precious is just an all-around like comedy artist, also like graphic artist. What else? Like, I don't even know what to say about what else that you do, but if you a little bit more, you guys can go on ahead. I don't even know if they heard me.
I didn't, but I'm
so
sorry.
Yeah, the it's really breaking up bad. What's up with Blog Talk Radio as it pertains to the way their streaming or their recording of live shows happens? This is literally all they do, so I don't understand what's going on with that. But Mojo and the Ruddest Jones, can y'all please introduce yourselves, because you will be heard more than Nick Sykes will be heard. So we can start with Mojo.
What's up, y'all? It's the one and only Mojo Disco here, coming to you live from Brooklyn, tethered in Jersey. I am an artist, designer, poet, producer, actress. I'm the light of the sun. My pronouns are she, her, that bitch, and I'm happy to be here.
Work. Yes, girl. Okay, Daruda.
Well, my name is Ruddest Jones. I am simply a personality. I'm an individual that's going to talk shit, and I'm going to fuck with your feelings, and I'm not really concerned about how that makes you feel. I am a former performance artist. I'm a former curator, but right now I'm pretty much focused on just upsetting you and getting you a little unsettled in your seat.
I live for it. Okay, so
Shout out
today's
to the
topic
panel
is
today. This will be a Nancy Pizza panel. I'm here for it.
look. This is what we are here to do because really, like the tea is like under the Anukai tree. We really just want to get to the point where people are comfortable with being uncomfortable because essentially all of these systems made it like design things for people's like comfort in oppression and comfort in being oppressive, you know what I'm saying? And it's like y'all are too comfortable there, so get uncomfortable right quick, and then let's figure out how we can actually be better and let people speak their truths and let people do what it is that they actually need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that other madness. Right, exactly. So it's like I live like we you know what I'm saying, we pride ourselves on being people that are here to disrupt the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And yes, we can't curse on here. We don't got no sponsors or nothing, nobody to adhere to. So you can say however the fuck you feel on this bitch. So yeah. So I guess I don't know. Let's start with like the basic kind of like overall encompassing question. Like, what does womanhood, modern womanhood, mean to you? And whoever wants to start can just jump in.
For me, modern womanhood means for me, I do what I want, when I want, at the speed that I want, at the pace that I want, on the day that I want, however I want. And your comfortability is not my concern. We come from this social construct where a woman is supposed to be pretty and seen and not heard. No, you're going to hear me every day, repetitively, and you're not going to get to put me into this box. Like, modern womanhood is box free. Modern womanhood is, yes, we're going to talk about our period. Modern womanhood is, yes, we're going to talk about these cramps. Modern womanhood is, no, I want to fuck you, you don't get to fuck me. Like, it's total, complete freedom. It's, no, I'm not a hoe. It's that my pussy gets wet. It's doing what I want, when I want, whenever I want, and you don't get to tell me I can't.
I say.
Oh, if you guys want to call in, like if anybody's listening, that call-in number is 914-205-5458. So if you want to join us live on the air, just make sure you call in, and I'll put you in so you can talk to us.
Anybody have anything else to add on that?
I would say my idea of modern womanhood is very late, actually. I feel that modern womanhood is something that is projected through the media, something that is practiced in churches, something that doesn't serve all women across the spectrum. I think modern womanhood is something that a lot of women, including myself, must reclaim for ourselves, because if we don't, we get lost in the sauce of what we're supposed to be and the traditions that come with it. I think now, in these times that we're living in, modern womanhood can be linked to what women in the mainstream are doing, but that's not necessarily everyone's ministry. I think for me personally speaking, modern womanhood in my lens is just me existing as a fat black trans woman and choosing to share my truth and being a mother figure to those who are close to me, and being a daughter figure to those who are close to me, being a sister figure to those who are close to me. You know what I mean? So for me, modern womanhood is all of those things in one.
With that being said, do you think that womanhood has changed much over like the decades? Let's say like in 3 decades, you know what I'm saying, from what you've observed. Do you think womanhood has changed from like a social standpoint? Because I definitely understand what you mean, Mojo, about like how like the media definitely kind of controls everything that, you know, makes somebody try to understand what a woman is, does, and can be. And I don't know, like you know what I'm saying, I don't want to speak too much. I mean, I'm two-spirited, so I do have and claim a level of womanhood, but I am also like mostly male presenting, so like I don't want to take up the conversation. But I would say I kind of don't see much that has changed in terms of like the core messaging of what a woman is, you know what I'm saying, in the media. Would you agree, and why?
But I'm I want to give Precious that space to answer that because 3 decades ago I was not a woman. So I'm going to let her just rock off and I'll follow her.
Okay, yeah, Precious.
For me, I can only talk from what I've lived, right? So I'm a little girl that grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. And being so, there is this perfect cube of woman that you're supposed to be, right? And growing up, again, like I said, you're supposed to be seen and not heard. And you're supposed to look this way. You're supposed to talk this way. And you're expected to be a certain thing. For instance, growing up, my father was the breadwinner. Like, he's the one that went to work. My mother stayed home. He was the provider. My uncles were the ones who went to work. My aunt stayed home. And you just lived up to this idea of being Susie Homemaker. Whereas now, very much so, the tables have turned. Women have the higher income at this point. So now it's almost like, you know, people are saying, oh, women are trying to be men. No, we're not trying to be men. We're trying to be individuals. So it's changed a little bit. Like, in the relationships I've been in alone, I've been the breadwinner in the majority of my relationships. I've been the one leading. I've been the one making the majority of the decisions. And I find that within, I got to say, all of my women friends, it's the same thing. They are the leader. They are the breadwinner. They are the sustainer. They are the decision maker. It's not so much men anymore. So we've kind of taken the lead, but it's quietly taken the lead. How dare you talk about the fact that you're the lead? He's the man of the house. He's the leader. But the reality is, no, it's us. We're doing it.
Preach. Do you think you brought up something interesting? Right, exactly. You brought up something interesting about, just like not trying to be men but being individuals. Do you feel like women have been kind of held to being kind of the only ones concerned about community?
Women have been pigeonholed to being the only ones to being concerned about anything. Men have been afforded this opportunity to be ever-flowing, and I could do what I want when I want, and I don't have to give a fuck about you because I'm a man, and I don't have to. I don't have to feel. I don't have to cry. I don't have to care. All I have to do is have a big dick and have long money, and that's it. That's been the only standard men have been held up to. There has been no qualifying factors other than dick and money for men, and that's the reality. So women have been conditioned to being the one to give a fuck about everything. And now we're slowly giving a little fuck less.
Yeah, and I live. Like, do you feel like I feel like personally, again, like the community even still, like, and it's not something that I'm not trying to put anybody on caring about the community in that way more than like people already do, but I think like literally women could like deserve a time to be selfish at this point. Like, that to me is the best thing that could happen for the progression of literally everybody, and it's not something that I think women should have to think about consciously. But I feel like it's almost impossible for a woman to even like move without their movement having this kind of like cultural like community evolution that like adds to what I'm saying, like that adds to the elevation of everyone around them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like sometimes it don't even have to be conscious. So I feel it. Like, women individualism is something I really
for every vibration.
Period. Exactly.
I feel like patriarchy and misogyny makes it so that women aren't allowed to be selfish. Like, because it almost comes with this attitude of how dare you. Like, anytime I hear men speak about women, like the first thing that comes out of their mouths are, well, women are like nurturers and like the caregivers and the people that like keep the house together. So in that, like in that sort of like that idealized design, there's no room for selfishness in womanhood sometimes. And now I feel like women are just like, okay, like I need space for me, like I'm a human at the end of the day. And I think that men, especially like cis het men, don't know, or even even cis gay men
Some of the
don't know
gays,
how to
yeah,
like,
unfortunately.
deal with that because they feel like entitled to women's bodies and women's time.
Yep.
I say.
Like even to the point, like even like cis gay men, there's many who feel entitled to making comments about what it is to be a woman. Like I understand that you may have a connection to femininity, but at the end of the day, do you identify as a woman? Because if not, then you don't really have jurisdiction to tell us how we're supposed to be a woman, to make comments on our body, to make comments on our hair, to make comments on how we parent. You don't have room to say bitch this and bitch that. That's not your bag. Stick to your bag.
I think it's very
to
important to note that a lot of gay men are centered in heteronormativity. No matter where they fall on the gay spectrum, they follow a lot of heteronormative ideas and ideologies, and they apply the same standards that essentially is a disservice to them. You know, I have because I won't go any names, who follow these, you know, heteronormative standards, and it's a disservice to all of us.
Preach. There was something like to piggyback off the gay man situation. Like a lot of times they just like a lot of times gay men are just like the worst pick-me's to ever exist, and a lot of the shit that they be talking.
Knows.
Just be on that pick-me shit so that like the cis hets can feel like they, you know what I'm saying, because they feel like they, you know, are worth of their time and things of that nature like that. It seems like for the most part, women, even still as women crime, are the only ones not trying to please their oppressor in order to get free.
Yep. Right. Yep. There's still some who are.
There's some who are, you know, some pick-me's here,
but,
you know.
But for the most part, women is like, it's like, no, fuck you. Like, we don't even, I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but women don't even linger on heartbreak as long as we used to.
We don't have time to. We can't afford to. Because at the same time, we're being killed in ways we've never been killed before. We can't even afford to be heartbroken because we're so busy carrying everybody else on our back.
It's a fact.
That's a word.
The pretense.
It's a fact.
Ooh, child. You ain't even saw what it meant.
A place of I don't care.
You know what? I can't. I don't want to like be the one to say, but I don't even know. I don't even know if it's I don't care. It's got to be. It's more. I care about me more. You know what I'm saying? Like, because do y'all really not care? Like, I can't even imagine y'all not caring. Like Mojo, like you said, like the freedom to mother. You know what I'm saying? Like the people coming up that you know need the mothering. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like I feel like women, even in their selfishness, will always fulfill the needs of the people that they love. So long as, but I think at this point, it's gotten to a point where there has to be reciprocity, and women deserve reciprocity and have deserved reciprocity for centuries on millennia, and now it's just being demanded. Like, no, if I'm not gonna, if you're not gonna give it to me, then I'm going to go get it myself, and if I leave you behind in order to get it, then so be it. But then there's going to be somebody else that shows you love, that you're going to love, that's going to have a need that you're going to want to fulfill, because there's this understanding that like we can't really do nothing by ourselves that women have, that men seem to be able to say like, oh, I did it myself. When no, nigga, you didn't do shit. Actually, you sat there while a woman did it most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
But wait, let's talk about the other elephant in the
point I want to bring up is that I feel that, you know, we can sit here and talk about this until the sun turns into Alizé. But I feel that it's a population of men. It's a population of men who feel that, oh, you know, it's right, you know, the women are really handling their thing, they're doing their thing or whatever. But when it comes to their other brethren disrespecting our existence, they're mute. They don't speak up. They don't join in the fight. But in the inbox, it's like, yes, sis, you was right about what you said. But in the comments, nothing was added to the conversation. So it's like, what game are we really playing here? Because to me, anyone who is silent about the oppression of others approves of the oppression of others. Period.
I say.
Especially when you're notified and you're educated about the situation at hand. Period. You have blood on your hands.
I just had an argument with my best friend who was a guy because his other best friend who was a guy was doing some real fucked up shit in his relationship. And my best friend said something along the lines of, well, that's not my business, right? So immediately I'm like, what the fuck do you mean that's not your business? You just identified that he's doing some fucked up shit to his girl. You know that it's wrong. You're his friend, but you rather sit quietly and not chin check him. Whereas women, if I do, Mojo has checked me on my bullshit several of times. Bitch, no, you're wrong.
Many times. Tell him, sis.
Several of times. But women can do that shit so comfortably. But men feel like, no, I'm not going to check him because that's not my business. It's your business the second you identified that it was wrong.
See, men have this thing. Men have this thing where they feel like if they cut a nigga off, that's all they have to do. They'll literally, like, we were watching.
It's literally just watch fire burn the house down.
That's true too. I just remember watching this forum where this man was like, "Oh yeah, like any nigga that I know that's finna rape somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like I just stopped talking to that nigga." And it's like, okay, but what does that leave him free to do? Go find niggas that won't mind him raping. So I'm like, you're not.
And that
fixing
leaves
the problem.
other women rape because you didn't say nothing.
Because you didn't say nothing, you didn't do nothing, you didn't call the cops, you didn't whoop his ass. You know what I'm saying? So like it's I don't know, like niggas have this thing again, but that's here we go. It's this thing where they are looking for white male oppressive power instead of actually freedom.
Right. In my day, back in the day, because I'm a slut from the 90s. So I will be honest and say that I used to be a pick-me because that's the way I was indoctrinated. That's the way I was, raised. And I had to unlearn a lot of things. And when it comes to things like sexual abuse and sexual violence, I would often blame the woman involved because my mantra was, women, we should know better. I held women to a higher standard and I victim blamed them instead of actually getting at the person who was raping. And it took a lot of years of self-worth and self-love and getting to know people who have been through those experiences say, okay, bitch, you're wrong. And not only were you were wrong and strong. So as a person now who is an advocate for sexual violence, who's an advocate for just sharing your truth, I think so many times what we see is that men are conditioned to uphold the patriarchy before doing what's right. And that shows up in many different ways. So if it shows up in being silent, it shows up in just simply cutting someone off instead of breaking their bones or reporting them to the police. If it shows up in a way that you just ignore and victim blame, they're going to do that. And I say it with no shade, but nothing is going to change because there's a level of routine to this. So conversations like this need to continue to happen and to be broadcast because this is the only way change is going to come about.
To piggyback on the sex violence, being raped is so easy, especially when you don't understand the different facets of rape. For instance, men don't believe in, and many women don't believe in the coercion part of rape. And it took me a long time to understand the different facets because I've been raped 3 times. And with those 3 times, I didn't know I was raped in the moment that I was. Because women are conditioned to believe he wants it, so I have to give it, right? So the first time it was he kept asking. And I kept saying no. And then finally I just said yes because I was tired of you asking. That's rape. That's rape, period. Because you had to manipulate me into giving you my body. You raped me. And because people don't understand the different levels of rape, it's real easy to pass the buck or to say, oh, well, you wanted it. I wanted you to leave me alone, so I gave you pussy so you would leave me alone. Like, it's multifaceted.
And men don't really want to hear that. Like, it's sad to say, like, I hear conversations all the time with cishet men, like, in, like, the gym, in the locker room, and, like, especially even with, like, these young boys, like, talking about what you were just talking about, like, coercion. Like, oh, yeah, you got to keep on her, and, like, eventually she going to let up. And, like, older men, like, sort of, like, saying, like, yeah, that's what you do.
Right.
Like, yeah, you got it right, young man. And, like, I'm disgusted because I'm a non-dysphoric trans woman, but I am masculine presenting. Like, I don't have gender dysphoria. And so a lot of times I find myself in places around cis men where because of the way I present, they feel that I'm like a cis man as well. And I hear these things, and it's like, oh my God. And so I speak up, but oftentimes I get othered because of that. Because they're like, wait, nigga, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Like, that's not rape. I'm just like, it totally is. Because if she didn't want to give it up to you on the onset, oh, I just changed her mind. No, you forced her. And, like, you gotta, like, hear that, but they'll hear me, but they won't hear women say that, because I feel like because men aren't socialized to process any emotion other than anger, when you bring emotional conversations to them, they kind of just, like, shut down.
I don't even think it's true. Anger. It's any emotion outside of what they're feeling.
I don't even know if that's necessarily true.
Because they find themselves unable to, like, actually express genuine sadness. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely agree. It's got to be about, like, it's definitely very self-centered. It's all about what it is that they're feeling, but how it comes out is going to always be violent, going to always be, based on something that is more anger leaning than it is, like, genuine, like, sadness or genuine concern or dismay. You know what I'm saying? And like what Pat was saying, excuse me, they don't listen enough to even be able to learn after some point. Like you were saying, even just about the idea of being persistent, quote unquote. It's everywhere. Like they teach it. Like he was saying, in the locker rooms, they teach it. You hear it from, your parents. Shit, even Family Guy did a 007 skit where 007 is like saying, you're going to sleep with me tonight, and the girl is saying no, and he says it about 10 times, and then she says yes, and then he takes an aside to the camera and says, see that, young man? 10 no's and a yes is still a yes. No, it's not, nigga.
I remember that.
That's very late.
Like, okay? Like, no, it's not.
But even like pressuring pressuring a girl or a woman into wanting to go on a date with you. We said no because, bitch, no. You don't get to keep asking, I don't like you. I don't like you. No, I didn't like you yesterday, today. I'm not going to like you next week or next year, bitch. I don't like you. But they can't compute that because I'm a man. You have to like me. You're a woman. I have a dick. You have a pussy. This is supposed to be.
And it don't get no worse than the ones who swear that they're nice guys or good guys, and when they get rejected, all the nicest and good goes out the window. Yep. You know those types. Those types are usually 5'8" and shorter, and they're so quick to women is shit. Because when a good guy comes around, y'all don't appreciate him. He won't tell you how he's boring as fuck, how his breath stink, and how his feet was doing the crip walk. He won't tell you that part, but he's gonna make it seem and frame it that he was rejected.
Go to bed, Mojo. You're tired.
No, you were whack. You were a whack individual, whether you were good or bad. And the only good thing about it is that you're no longer in my face. Back the hell up.
Don't forget the ones who
backing it up.
That's not all men. That's not all of us.
Oh my God.
You're like somebody because you don't do nothing about it, bitch. Like, I'm not gonna get killed.
Come on, somebody.
So let's get the hell off of men and we have the wherewithal to cuss them out. You know what I'm saying? But we are going to try to make this time more about uplifting women.
We're not drinking.
We're all so socialized to fucking make it about men so much that literally we're trying to talk about women and they come up because they're so damn oppressive. We got to give a second to them and fucking cuss them out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we're so socialized that we done got off the whole topic, and that's like reimagining womanhood. You know. So like,
Right.
what are the things that you see your sisters reimagining about themselves to elevate themselves in 2020?
I see a lot of my good girlfriends turning to native religion and spirituality, which I love.
Yes.
I say.
A lot of my good girlfriends are practicing witchcraft, which I love. A lot of my girlfriends are ditching traditional religion because it doesn't serve us as we thought it did. You know,
Abrahamic religion, because
Yeah.
African and indigenous religions are traditional religions, they're traditional to us. Like I like to say Abrahamic religion or like westernized Abrahamic religions, because that's really what we're talking about.
Right.
Right.
I don't even think that, because our native isn't religion at all. It's spiritual reality and ancestry.
Yeah.
Ashe. Look, I got nothing to say about that. You're absolutely right.
True, and philosophy.
Yep. And
like, it
understanding
isn't
the
something-
world
Like,
around
come on,
you.
we created math. Don't do us.
Don't do it. We put the numbers together, bitch. We created language in the first place. Y'all wouldn't have tones, period.
Right.
Bitch,
Don't get me started.
we started walking upright. We said, my motherfucking back hurt. Let me stand up. Let me stand the fuck up and walk on these here feet, because these knuckles are sore, bitch.
Yes, God.
Oh my God, we have to have y'all back on. Like,
Yes, we need to have y'all at the bridge. Like, we need to have a legit forum and like tape it.
First of all,
But,
you need to
yeah.
go to the city of New York, okay? Because y'all in
Look.
Jersey with it. That's a little far.
No, fuck that,
It's
Mojo.
really
We need
not.
to get out the city.
It's really not. Like, it's like you could get to Newark as fast as you could get to Canarsie, believe it or not.
Oh, you
Wait,
in
you
Newark?
like Newark?
Oh, I thought y'all was like
Yeah.
down
That's
like
right
the
there. That's
oranges
the
and
hood.
stuff.
Yeah, no, we're not south. No.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh,
man.
I got
I'm trying to
traded
get
in
the hell out
Newark.
of
That ain't nothing.
Good night. I said, Mojo, good night.
Oh my God.
But yeah, let's talk more about that. What are some ideals? Like, what are some hopes that you have for like women in this coming decade? We talked about like women getting into
ATRs
and indigenous and witchcraft and indigenous spiritualities. What are some other hopes you have for your sisters in this next decade?
Ooh. So one of the things that my cousins and I are super focused on is we're going to make the path that we made is we're going to make $100,000 a year by the time we're 40. Period. So I am anxious for all of us to get on the wave of career and focus on that and not wait for a man to do it for us. Also, the thing that I am most excited about is women beginning to venture into ownership. Buy your house, buy your land, buy your condo, buy your building, buy whatever it is you want to buy, but make sure it's yours and you own it completely and totally, and you don't share that ownership with not near man.
I don't even got nothing to add to that. That's just straight up, straightforward fact and necessity. Period.
Listen, me and my girl,
I'm going to have a condo.
2020, period. That's it. All right. We fucking for car keys. And where those cars may go, I don't know. But we're going to be in them.
I live.
It's funny because so many people are penalizing women for being quote unquote gold diggers. But why the fuck not? Why not? You want to
But I put a post the other day, like, you ever notice that the men
expensive.
who complain about gold diggers don't have any gold? Like, it really drives me
Right.
crazy. I never met a man with long money who had to worry about gold diggers because his money was actually long. You know, it wasn't in jeopardy by any woman or any date or anything like that. It's the ones who have crumbs that want to guard their Quaker oat crumbs, it's so precious. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's so annoying to me.
It's true. It's fucking. I'm all right.
Monogamy been around for a couple hundred
dating.
years, and niggas. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. No, go ahead.
So I'm secretly dating this guy. Don't judge me. Just let me live my life.
Oh, man?
Yeah. I'm secretly dating this guy, and he is fucking fabulous. He has an awesome job. He drives a nice car. He has his 401k. He has his investments. He already has his money put to the side to buy a house for when he gets married. Like, he's A-okay. And literally, whatever I say I want, I get. And I'm not a materialistic woman. I'm not asking for bags. I'm not asking you to take me on shopping sprees. I'm very simplistic, right? So if I call him right now and say, yo, I'm going to go get some ice cream, all right, I'm on my way. He's coming to get me, so we go get ice cream. If I say I'm going to go to this restaurant, that in the restaurants, I'm a fat bastard. Like, I want expensive food. I eat, right? So it doesn't matter what restaurant I say. He says, okay, let's go. And not ever do I have to reach into my pocket to pay for anything. And when I do pay for it, it's because I decided I'm going to take you on a date because you deserve it, because you're the good guy. And that's another misconception, that women don't take men on dates. We take you on dates, bitch, when you deserve it. We can do it, too.
Right. Take you right down to Red Lobster. But you actually made me think of what I wanted to say. And what I really hope that women take into this decade, my sisters take into this decade, is stop accepting the bare minimum from these niggas, from your job, from your friends. Like, I've learned, especially through my relationship with Jack, that it is possible to have it all. Like, you don't have to, like, accept the bare minimum, even from yourself. Because I feel like we, like, as women, we've been forced ourselves to make ourselves so small in this world that sometimes we feel like, okay, we just got to take whatever we can get and hustle with it and not realize, like, it's like femininity is the space. Like, that's something that Jack, oh, no.
What?
Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah, no, I just, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I'm going to add another layer to that. Black women specifically.
Oh, yeah, I'm always talking
black
about
women.
That's who we got. This is a black-ass podcast.
This like, fuck them bitches. Y'all got yours as far as I'm concerned.
In terms of white women, yeah, white women, anyway, continue, sorry.
Go ahead, Precious.
Black women specifically tend to require less because we are the most overlooked. We are the most underappreciated. We are the most unloved, but we are the most in giving. We are the most in loving. We are the most in helping. We are the most in giving all of that we have. But with us giving away every facet of our existence, we are the most overlooked. So we're willing to take, oh, my God, you're giving me a sock. I love this sock forever, because we're so underappreciated.
Fuck that damn sock. Let me tell you something. I want to throw trans black women into the mix because shit, a sock. We can't even get a sock. Please, we can't even get safety from these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, when it comes to black women, and especially, and I love my cis black women, and I rally for my cis black women, but they too can perpetrate, the hate and harm.
They can.
Black trans
they
women,
do.
When it comes to just existing, like for me, speaking from my personalized experience, every day is a choice to leave my house and live in my fullest capacity. And this is something that people who don't have to worry about this never even think about. But for women like me, we have to constantly think about our safety and our survival. Never mind the fact that we may or may not want to be loved. Never mind the fact that we may or may not deserve love or receive love because the trauma is so deep-rooted that we don't even recognize our bodies as being receiving of love. I think that in so many times, the bare minimum, like Preston said, is like we are taught, black women are specifically and indirectly taught to accept crumbs, and that we should be grateful for crumbs because our black men are being killed by police, and our black men are unemployed, and our black men are undereducated. So when they give us a crumb, we should dice up the crumb and ration it just in case we may want to have kids or we got to feed the dog or the cat. I'm so tired of that narrative. And I say all the time, you know, when we think about things that Black women deserve, we deserve the world because we are the world. Period. There would not be any world or earthly rotation without Black women. We are the one. We are the creator. Cis and trans, we are that network. So when we sit up in spaces and we have to argue, and Precious would tell you, I think out of all my Facebook friends, Precious understands the most. We are about it, and we would educate motherfuckers to a certain degree, so it's not too laborsome on us. We would educate, correct, throw shade, reject, block, and continue, because it's so necessary that this message no longer gets to the younger mind. You know, that's what I care about, the younger mind. The girls who are now becoming women and how they process that and how they receive that, because we can no longer live to these standards. We can't.
You know what's funny? So I work in social services. That's my passion. Like, that's what I live and die for, which is why I strayed away from performance and things like that, because I want to focus on what I truly love. And I worked in youth services for a long time. There were so many young girls that I've encountered that just had no computation of self-worth. And I often was the one, I go above and fucking beyond at my job. Like, I do a monotony of things that I could never truly be paid for. And the amount of girls, there's girls that I met at my first youth program 6 years ago who still trail behind me to this day. There was this one girl, her name is Amber. When I met Amber, she had no understanding of self-worth or self-respect. She was nasty, she was rude, she was condescending, she was dismissive, she was ghetto, she was loud, she was obnoxious. Any negative word you can use, it was her. I took Amber in the room in the computer lab one day, and I locked the door. And me and her went back and forth. We cursed each other the fuck out. But it wasn't a curse out from, I hate you, fuck you, I don't give a fuck. It was a curse out of, you fucking deserve more. You have to do more for you. 5 years later, simply because I gave a fuck about Amber. Amber has her own apartment. She didn't then. She was house hopping. Amber has her high school diploma. She didn't then. She didn't think it was important. Amber has a job. Not only does she have a job, but Amber is the fucking supervisor. And Amber is in fucking college now. And Amber calls me every few months to say, yo, I love you, Ms. Jones. You did this for me. It's simply a matter of giving a fuck about one another. And the amount of girls that I've done that for is crazy.
I'm about to cry.
And it's sick that they haven't gotten that before me.
Right.
And I'm not even that much older than them. Why was nobody else giving you that I give a fuck? We all have to.
Because nobody gives a fuck about Black women. Nobody.
Period.
Nobody.
And it's
not even Black men.
Yo.
Especially
Black
men.
We are the least valued by the motherfuckers we push out our pussy.
But you know, and that kind of picked me. But I need to ask, at what point do we say as women we have contributed to a generation of men who hate us? At what point do we say that?
There's going to be people who disagree with me, and I'm okay with that. But I feel like that largely comes from the single mother population. Because the single mother population doesn't allow their sons to just be their sons. They become the man of the house. You are not the man of the house. You are the little boy of that bedroom. I'm the woman of the house and the man of the house. And they put their sons in these misconstrued relationships with them, and they make them men before they are actually men. So now when they become men, they don't know how to be that because they always were this that you allowed them to be.
I want to take it a little bit further back. I think that phenomenon starts when men were saying what it is a man is. You know what I'm saying? And defining it based on what it is that women either can do for them or what it is that they can get from women.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then from there, when the single mother household phenomenon happened while we were all growing up, essentially, that gets reinforced by women who understood that trope to be true, which it's not, but that's how they took it, and then spread it from there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I still fucking blame. Like, to me, the onus is still on men because like oppression comes from the top down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like women, there's accountability to be had there, and women perpetuating, you know what I'm saying, misogyny and patriarchy in their own households when they are the only ones running their households as both the matriarch and patriarch themselves. But end of the day, like,
you have the systematic power to enact this thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all didn't create, like black women didn't create this patriarchy. It was just taught, and they had you teach what you know. You know what I'm saying? And with all the different things that are made to squander women, and all the different things that are made to keep women in a place in which they'll be the perpetrators of said patriarchy. I mean, like, even in two-parent households, you know, this is like people don't understand that it's not okay to date men that are homophobic and have kids with men that are homophobic. Oh, I'm not homophobic, but your child is going to learn these homophobic ways from your man because that's what he's going to teach. And if you're not going to,
like, I don't get it. I hate it here.
Meanwhile. So it's that idea that it's still this idea of like the subservient. You know what I'm saying? And once that breaks, you like you guys in our generation, we're the ones that are breaking it because we're not really subservient to nobody. Like, we're not the subservient generation. We're like, no, fuck that. That doesn't make sense. We're not so. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be leading by example for the most part to be like, okay, nah, just because somebody who supposedly has authority based on whatever social construct or based on how old they are or based on whatever, said that this is how it goes, that doesn't mean that that's how it goes for me. And that means that we get to break these chains because these chains are freaking generations thick, man. Like, these things are thick as fuck. And without a blowtorch, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna break easy. If we're gonna saw our way out of this, it's gonna take more generations of examples of how to use the damn saw.
That's true. This is why people hate millennials, yo, because like the boomers are just like, how dare you speak out against traditional abuse? I took it on the chin. Like, how dare you fight against oppression in your workplace? You know, sit down and take that like a man.
Like for them to be like, like I remember when you could give a compliment in the office. Nigga, nobody took that as a compliment. We were scared.
It was creepy. It was creepy then. It's creepy now. We want you to stop.
Jeez.
Should we do this question? Do you want to do this question? You guys want to take this question? We have one question from online.
Yeah, let's do that.
That I think you guys could actually get some great insight into. So, Tamia from Facebook wants to know, how do I help raise a young lady that's in her 20s to find her womanhood the right way? I took my cousin in about a week ago.
This is cis male.
Anybody?
Wait, what? I'm confused.
Okay, so the question is from Tamira on Facebook, and the question says, how do you help raise a young lady that's in her 20s to find her womanhood in the right way? I just took my cousin in about a week ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so this is a man asking how to raise a woman.
Yeah.
That's already an adult.
That's already an adult. Okay. So I think what he's asking for is something he cannot provide. And I say this to But what I think the best thing he could do is he can associate this young lady with women like me or Precious or someone who gives a fuck. Because I think women need to learn from women who have been in their spaces and shoes Because not to say that men cannot do it, but I feel that the energy, the divine feminine energy that us women share, it needs to be exchanged for it to be fully received and for it to soak in. You know, so I think the best thing he can do is to provide her resources. If you know she's a girl who doesn't like to read, show her YouTube videos. If you know she doesn't have patience to sit there and watch YouTube videos, tell her stories. You know, use those resources because they're out there. And if you really care, you'll do that work to help her do her work.
Sure.
I think that, so I was, growing up, I was a little hood rat. I was popping my pussy every and anywhere. If you had a dick, I was on it. What we doing? I was selling drugs. I was fighting. I was the girl with the blades in my mouth. I was the one with the knives in my sock. Like, I was that girl. And I am appreciative that no one interfered with me living that. Like, they protected me to the best of their ability. Like, they made sure I didn't die, but they also gave me the room to just exist and learn my shit the way I needed to learn my shit. So sometimes I believe that, huh?
I said, you from Brownsville? I was joking.
Oh my God!
I hung out in Brownsville way too much. They fucked me up. But sometimes you just have to let a person be and grow out of their own mishaps while affording them all of the resources and all of the tools necessary. The reality is a man will never be able to tell us how to be a woman because simply you don't have the right. Because you don't know what a woman is. You don't know what the existence of a woman is. You will never compute that. So your interjection and your input is null and void because you're just telling us how to be a woman based on what you think a woman is. And what you think a woman is what excites your dick. And that's just the bare truth. You just have to let her be who she is and afford her a circumference of women. And not women that you think are quote-unquote good women, but women, period. And from that, she will develop into who she's going to be. And maybe who she's going to be is not what you consider a good woman, quote-unquote, but that's not your place. You have to just let her be who she's going to be.
And if you're a gay man, do not place Beyonce expectations on this young lady because she doesn't deserve that, period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Wow, you guys,
that's amazing. Like,
extremely
that's your right.
prolific. Like, snatch the light. Exactly. Like, yo, and you know, there's people want to. Okay, and this is an aside that might need another episode at some point. But people want to be upset about certain double standards or whatever have you. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, women tell men who they supposed to be all the time. Well, women create men.
They birth you.
This is like you have nothing without a woman. So a woman can tell you what it is to be a man and what it means to be a man because, like, before your kind even existed, women were doing your job. So I don't know why this is not, you know what I'm saying? So I just want any men out there that are listening that are like, oh, like, well, that I don't understand that. Like, if there's gonna be equality, then no, we are not a show about equality. We are a show about equity. And the equitable thing is, yes, there's a double standard here. You don't get to say shit. She gets to say everything. Calm down, sit down, listen, and learn.
Period.
I don't think equality is a real thing. And I know that sounds
Agreed.
crazy.
Nope, agreed.
Equality doesn't actually exist because my box is different than your box. My box bleeds. Your box don't. Like, you can't compete. Like, we are all diverse individuals. So you can't tell me how my existence is supposed to look. There are tall people, there are short people, there are people with long arms, there are people with long toes, there are people with long teeth, there are people with long hair. We are not all the same. So the concept of equality is non-existent. That's like saying fucking a tall person and me who's short as shit, we're supposed to be able to reach the same shelf. No, that's not real. It doesn't exist. What should exist is fairness. It needs to be fair, but equality is not a thing.
Yep, don't believe in equality. I believe in equity. Whereas,
honestly,
yes,
I don't want to be equal to you. I don't want to be equal to you. I deserve more than you, and that's that on
Thank
that.
you.
Because I deserve more than you. I deserve more than you, and I don't say that to be cocky. I don't say that to be any kind of way. I deserve more than you, and that's how I'm gonna feel. You may feel you deserve more than me, and that's okay too. But I deserve more.
And we both might have
that's
different
equality
understandings of more.
It's a joke, right? And you should always feel like you deserve more as a human being. That's growth. The moment you don't feel, the moment you feel like you deserve as much as that person has, or that person deserves as much as you have, it's a whole setup, and you're setting yourself up to be stuck. No one should ever want to be stuck where they are. You know, I call that personal hell. You should never want to stay and reside in personal hell. There's no growth there. You are stunted there. Yep. Please move forward. And I wanted to add also, you know, speaking, I want to make space that for the non-binary folks, because a lot of times they're left out of this conversation. And as a trans woman, I want to publicly acknowledge that non-binary femmes also deserve space, and they deserve the world as well, because their existence, and those who are also two-spirit, those people who navigate life that way, I feel like although we are making small steps with the trans community, we are making no steps for non-binary and gender non-conforming folks.
That's true.
So I just want to give this moment to give them that platform. You know, at the end of the day, womanhood, and I always say, to me, womanhood is defined as strength, courage, and wisdom, period. And I did get that from the India Irie. That's my girl. You know, but it applies to so many general principles, and I think it's time for men to redefine what masculinity and manhood means on their terms, because it should no longer be on us. Labor is always on us. You know, we got it. And I'm glad that we're in a space where I see a lot of more women collectives. Women are at the top, like Crusher said, at the top of these corporations. Women are supervisors. Women are showing up and showing out. And it's only going to get better from here. But black women specifically, because every other kind of woman y'all had y'all space, black women, we are all we got. We are all we got. And if any part of this interview or conversation disturbs you, I challenge you to unpack it and ask yourself, why are their words fucking with my spirit? You know, it might be that the truth is trying to enter and you are rejecting it. That's something to think about. So if anything we said tonight disturbs your spirit, please unpack it. Don't all lives matter this conversation, because it's a necessary one. Unpack it, why it makes you uncomfortable. Unpack why you don't agree. Unpack why you feel that equality is such a blessing to the world. Unpack all of these things, because that's how your work will start.
You know what I tell people all the time? When a person finds uncomfort in anything I say or anything I do, I'm quick to tell them, well, that's a conversation you need to have with your mirror, because that's not my bad. I didn't do it. I can't control your feelings, and I can't control your thoughts. What I can do is exude my feelings and my thoughts, and I'm comfortable in them shit. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't be dead-ass wrong sometimes. I'm a bitch that be strong and wrong, and I don't give a fuck. It's strong and wrong.
And that's why I fuck with you the long way. I fuck with you the long way for that exact reason.
I love a strong and wrong bitch too. Like, no tea, no shade. Like, I mean, we Mojo, you know, as arts teachers, everyone here is a teacher and has taught art at some point. We need people to be strong and wrong and strong, so that at the end of the day, if you wrong and loud and strong, but still with an open heart and open ears, then you can be corrected. You know what I'm saying? And if it's for you to be corrected, then you'll take it and be corrected, and then you'll be right and strong, because we need the loud hoes to fucking be loud. Everybody trying to quiet the loud hoes down. No, we need the loud hoes to be fucking loud. So we got a minute left. I don't know if you guys want to do a little after show where we can key and not have to think about any time constraints, or hear this British bitch have to talk about how many minutes we have left.
I'm fine with that. I got my drink and my 2 step.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so
we'll
do an
that.
after show.
I want to definitely, Mojo, say thank you for what you said. Your shout out to the non-binaries and two-spirits. As a two-spirit, sometimes it's uncomfortable for me to, and we'll get into this a little bit on the after show, as a person who does indeed have womanhood inhabited within, to have these conversations from a woman's standpoint, because people don't necessarily want to acknowledge my womanhood because they hear all of this bass in my voice or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? So like it's definitely comforting to know.
It's all right.
it's comforting to know that people are, you know what I'm saying, are indeed out here paying attention and definitely do want to afford us that space. And I know we online, you my sister in general, so like you already know that I know there's no where you are mentally when it comes to that. So yeah, we're going to give us a 10-second countdown in a second. Much love, chicken and hair grease. Thank y'all for sitting with us under the Anukai tree. Join us for the after show later on,
at Mojo Disco,
right after
on
this
Instagram,
motherfucker.
MojoDisco.com. I love you much.
Follow us on Space on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Good night.
Bye.
Ow.
All right, y'all. So